Hey, oh, the balloons. We are back. We are celebrating. I'm here with Samir, and we want to share some more. Now, if you didn't see the last podcast, go check that out. I shared with everybody that Samir and I have been in a mastermind for the past 2 or 3 years, and he always has such amazing information to share that I begged him and pleaded, and he agreed to come and share some of these nuggets with you on how to grow your business. This video is dedicated to his process called E.A.D.S. And it's a way that you can make more money while reducing overwhelm, stress, and stop working long hours. This is gold. This may be the thing that finally catapults you out of any ruts, any feeling of stuckness, or just refreshes your approach to your business. Samir, thank you so much. Can you just dive right into what E.A.D.S. stands for and how we can start to use it right away?
You want me to give away the secret seats right away? All right.
Go.
We could do that. We could do that.
Time is money, buddy.
The time, oh my God, if that isn't the essence of today's podcast, I don't know what is. Okay. This is, I will dive right into it. So, first of all, thank you for having me back. For those of you who haven't checked out the earlier podcast, definitely check it out. All of this builds on each other. So if you watch this first, great, go back, watch the other one. If you haven't, do it the other way around. Okay, cool. So E.A.D.S. So in building a business, and I think we should preface this by saying that everything I teach, everything I do is about building a lifestyle business. And the lifestyle business is, hey, I'm a solo. I want to enjoy my life. I want to make enough money so half the problems go away. And then I want to figure out how to spend my time with my family, on the beach, golfing, and some people just want to work. So it's all about the lifestyle. And in the beginning, it's about the money. And that's what we talked about in the previous podcast, because money, making enough of it, eliminates a lot of problems that you may have. So today we're going to talk about the other element, which is the time, the stress, the overwhelm. And over the years, I have figured out that there are 4 major components to minimizing or reducing or eliminating your time obligation and your stress and overwhelm. So let's get started in this. So I call it E.A.D.S. And obviously each letter refers to something. The first one is E for elimination. Now, I am going to royally louse this up. I feel like it was either Peter Drucker or Henry Ford or someone said this, and then we can fact check me. But it was basically like there's no point in doing something that is pointless more efficiently. Okay. I totally flubbed that, East. That was definitely not the quote, but I think you get the idea. So with it's about elimination. Elimination is basically getting rid of everything in your business that doesn't make you money, doesn't free up your time, or doesn't improve the quality of your clients' lives. Okay, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to serve them. We're here to serve them well, and I want to make sure that you're not wasting time on for lack of a better word, stupid things. Okay, so the person that spends 4 hours a day trying to perfect their business card, but literally never meets anyone in person. Everyone is online, social media, email, phone. No one ever gets their business card, so stop doing it. Or the person that is trying to perfect their elevator pitch, but actually never has to present an elevator pitch because everything is in writing. People are going to their landing page, their website, etc. And so what is the first part in this process is we want to get rid of everything that is actually not helping us in any which way, but we think we should do it because there are business coaches and books and a boatload of YouTube videos that are saying this is what you should do in your business. And one of the most I want to say rare commodities or precious commodities is the ability to stop and think, which a lot of us have stopped doing. But if you stop and think and say, hey, listen, does this actually help me in my business? And if the answer isn't a resounding yes, it needs to go. Okay, so the first part is we eliminate everything that is not contributing to the growth of our business, to the betterment of our lives, or to the betterment of our clients' lives. Stop doing all that stuff. Now, stupid little things. Do I need an 800 number instead of a regular number? Well, yeah, you did in the 1970s when it actually cost money to make a phone call. Now it doesn't. Stop doing that. And each business has to figure this out for themselves. So the first step is elimination. And what you will learn is that there's so much stuff that you can get rid of. And the key here is freeing up your time to focus on the bigger tasks. And East, I'm going to take a segue on this because this applies to everything we're going to teach. So a lot of the right now I'm talking about time, I'm talking about stress, I'm talking about overwhelm. And a lot of this comes from doing the $5, $10, $20 an hour tasks. We're all professionals. Okay. We should be doing the $100, the $1,000, the $10,000, $100,000 an hour tasks. And sometimes sitting down in a lawn chair, looking at the clouds, relaxing, taking time to think is worth $1,000 an hour, because the thoughts that will come into your head will produce so much more cash than doing your accounting on QuickBooks, or chasing after clients to collect money, or trying to design your own website. Stop. This is all the stuff that you shouldn't be doing. And we'll talk about how to get rid of all this stuff. Okay. First step is elimination. Anything you want me to clarify on that, East? Or should we move on to the next?
No, I love it. I'm making notes because I was going to ask you to provide more examples, but under elimination, what I see, people will start looking into doing Facebook ads or social media ads and not ask themselves, do I really need to do that? Or what if I just start emailing my list, people that that already know me, or people will say, I need to get all these social media posts. I have to, and then they stop and they go, actually, I don't. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But they'll spend hours building their own website, doing their own QuickBooks, chasing their own money from insurance. When if you could hire somebody out for some of these essential tasks, great. But really ask yourself, I love how you said, like the filter, does this really add value to my business or my services by having a social media post? It might not. In a lot of cases, it doesn't, but you think you hear that you need to be an influencer, you need to do these Facebook ads, or you need to be on social media, when maybe you don't. Maybe you just need to start reaching out to your existing and past patients and clients and re-engage with them. That
Absolutely.
right there is going to pay you back in spades versus posting a bunch of pictures of you doing things in your office on social media.
Thank you. Yeah. And that's exactly what we talked about in the last podcast, which was stop doing all the sexy stuff and do the boring stuff that actually works. And I know before we did this podcast, we always talk about like stuff that Tim Ferriss said or did. And one of the lines that I really love, and one of the questions he likes to ask himself is, what would this look like if it was simple? What would this look like if it was simple? And it's rarely, well, I'm going to create an extensive Facebook advertising campaign and spend thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars to do so. It'll say, let me call up Cindy because she worked with me before and she probably needs me again. Let me spend 2 minutes on that phone call, get another client. So great, cool. So guys, that segue was great to like make sure you watch the previous podcast because we talk all about that. Okay, let's go to the A in E.A.D.S. The second step is automation. Okay, now this is about technology, and I know that a lot of people do not like technology. I am kind of in the middle. I love softwares, but I like my wife has like a nice high-tech car. I hate it. Like I want buttons, I want clickers, I want all that stuff. Like I'm old school that way. But I do like the fact that both cars will stop me if I'm about to crash into the person in front of me. Okay. And I want you to think about the automation you use in your business of saving you from yourself. Okay, so this is what's happening. Let's take the example of a marketing software. Okay, so let's talk about what we want to automate. Automation is having technology do something that is repetitive and that will make literally no difference whether we do it manually or on automation, except for the fact that the automation will be much more precise, much more accurate, and will actually keep up with the flow of what you're doing. So let's look at what this looks like in a real life example. All right. So one of the things I talk about is following up with your leads. Someone called in, they left a message, they left an email, they filled out a web form, whatever it may be. And so what do? We call them once. Maybe we remember to call them twice. Maybe we actually remember to call them every week for the next 100 weeks because they're the only person that's in our world. And that's fine. But then a second person comes in and a third person comes in and you're like, wait, what week was this person on? What was I supposed to say to them on this call? And now you have 30, 40, 50 people on your list. And there's no way in the world as a solo professional, solo practitioner, you are going to be able to follow up with these people. But there is software that does it very easily. And these are basically CRMs, right? And you set up an automated follow-up sequence that I'm going to follow up with Cindy week 1, week 2, week 3, And then Terry came in on week 3, so we're going to follow up there. And then Jay came in and he has to start at the beginning, and you don't have to keep track of any of this stuff. So this is the stuff that a lot of practitioners are trying to do on their own. It's almost like taking care of their own accounting, right? It's please don't become an expert in QuickBooks. I don't want to see that, like, people are like, well, I know QuickBooks really well. Well, you're an acupuncturist. Stop doing QuickBooks. Okay. Focus on software that's going to make your life easier and free up your time. And again, the freeing up the time is going back to not doing the $5, $10, $20 an hour task, but doing the $100,000, $10,000 an hour task. That is what's going to grow your business. And if you want to know what those tasks are, back to the previous pod. Can I reference the previous podcast enough? Like, those are the $10,000, $50,000, $100,000, $1,000 tasks that we were talking about. Okay, so the second part is automation. If you are unsure about what technology to use, ask someone who is a little bit ahead of you. Drop a comment below. There's no shortage of software that's going to help you, but you have to know what problem you're facing or what you're doing over and over again that's driving you nuts. That's what we'll find software for. Okay, so that's automation. Good, East?
Yep.
Awesome. Shall we go on to D?
Let's do it.
D is very closely related to automation, but it's called delegation. Delegation, or if you want to refer to it as outsourcing, here's a very specific definition that I figured out over the years. It is having someone else who is better, faster, more efficient at doing that task, do the things that you either are not good at doing, but are essential to your business, or the stuff that you hate doing that are essential to your business. Okay, let me say that again in very simple terms. You want someone else to do the stuff that you hate doing or you don't do well, but are essential to your business. Okay, and we've already named a couple of those: accounting, web design, answering phone calls, setting up appointments. I hope this doesn't happen to you, but chasing down clients for money that they owe you. Putting stuff in your calendar. Like, a lot of this stuff is admin in nature, and there can be higher level stuff. Like, for example, I have someone that operates my CRM, which is my digital marketing software. I have someone that edits my videos for me. I have someone that steps in and, they do warm sales for me. And so these are all higher level tasks, but these are all the things that I don't do best or that I don't enjoy doing. And this is so difficult to do the first time you do it, because as professionals, as entrepreneurs, we feel like we have to have control of our business. We want to control everything. We want to be everything from the acupuncturist to the janitor to the accountant to the marketing expert. And we say there's no one out there that can do it better than me. But the problem is that there is. And if you let them do what they do best, you will have the time and the space and the bandwidth to do what you do best. And the stuff that you do best is going to be the stuff that makes you the most money. Designing your business card, designing your website, editing your videos is not the stuff that's going to make you the big bucks. Learning marketing, sales psychology, how to have a conversation with someone, how to build a follow-up sequence so that people keep coming back to you, how to generate repeat business, referral business, future business. This is the stuff that puts money in your pocket. And now when you have this money, you can outsource someone. Now, one thing I want to add is a lot of people are like, well, I'm in a place right now where I don't have the money to hire anybody. Okay. Do you have 20 bucks? I don't. Okay, well then skip lunch. Now you have 20 bucks. Okay. Hire someone for 1 or 2 hours to do something that you absolutely do not enjoy doing and just absolutely ruins your day if you have to. It might be as simple as hiring someone and saying, you know what? Tony owes me $1,000 and I have to call him and harass him because he hasn't paid on time. Cool. Hire someone to make that phone call. Say, I need someone that's done collection calls to make 1 or 2 phone calls for me, and pay them 10 or 20 bucks just to make that 1 phone call. Guess what's going to happen? You're going to be like, well, I'm sorry, you got the money from Tony? Yeah, because I knew what to say because I've been doing collections for 37 years. And he's going to pay it? Yeah, he's going to pay it off in 2 payments. I've been chasing it for months. Yeah, I know. That's why you hired me. So you don't have to chase him anymore. And so you paid 20 bucks and you made 1,000. And you're like, oh, that was kind of cool. So that's delegation. And the person, depending on the task, may need to be in your office. They may need to be overseas somewhere. The world is truly flat. There's so much help you can have out there. And I encourage you to start by finding the 1 or 2 tasks that you don't like doing or don't do well, and outsource or delegate those to someone who does it well and who enjoys the stuff that you really hate doing. All right.
Yes.
Got it, guys? Good. All right, East. Questions for that? What do they want to know?
Oh, on the
About
D.
automation, delegation.
I wrote my stuff down. So what I've seen personally and with my clients, insurance is a big one. Like, oh, but it's such a pain in the butt to do insurance, to get somebody to take on my insurance. It's not. Go on acupuncturist on Facebook, ask somebody, hey, who's got a good insurance biller? Get somebody else to do your insurance, because it'll free you up 2 or 3 hours that you can do one more patient that'll pay for all that insurance billing, and they'll get the collections for you. So insurance billing is one thing that people resist getting somebody to do. I have never in over 25 years heard somebody say, oh, I'm really bummed that I got somebody to do my insurance for me. So insurance, cleaning your office. Why are you cleaning your own office? You did not go to janitorial school. You can go on Nextdoor. You can go on Craigslist and add a gig and say, I need somebody to clean my office once a week for $50. So that right there is another one. EHRs. I had a client that had to take 1 week off. Now, this is a client that sees 98 patients a week.
Oh, wow.
So for him to take a week off of work just to catch up on his EHR, which is electronic health records, he's losing thousands of dollars. So I said, no. You're going to call a company called Hello Reishi, www.HELLORACHE.com. And they are going to do your EHRs for you. They're going to fix this problem for you. So this was his solution. For $200 a month, he takes an iPad into his treatment room, and there is somebody on the other side of the iPad that's not watching. It's not a video iPad, just listening. And that person is transcribing directly into his EHR. He no longer does his own EHR. He no longer has a backlog of EHR. He now has a week that he can work and then take a vacation with that money, all from calling Hello Reishi. Hello Reishi, they know acupuncture, they know holistic and health care practices like the back of their hands. Their English is superb. I have another client who was spending too much time with their front desk reception. They hired Hello Reishi to be the front desk reception. So when you walked into their office, it was an iPad with somebody sitting there going, hi, welcome. And it's pennies on the dollar. So that's another thing. Website edits. Why are you trying to teach yourself how to do Wix, Squarespace, Weebly, all these things? Go on Fiverr, go on Upwork, and have somebody do your website edits for you. Emails. Emails are another thing. Many of you sit down and you're like, oh, I need to write my emails for the next week. And you're reinventing the wheel all the time. Let's get those automated. You find out what are your 3 lanes, and your emails just go on a repeat. I have a product called Marketing in a Box. It would go really well with this. I'll put it in the notes to the show, where I show you how to do basically automate all your marketing for an entire year, like in one afternoon. And then it's just on autopilot. Like you don't have to sit down and spend 3 hours every week on your marketing. Should not be the case. And then videos. One time I was creating this video, a product video, and I went and I filmed all the videos, and I was trying to create and splice together a video using iMovie. And I spent about 8 hours, and it was horrible. And I was frustrated. I went on Fiverr, and for $37, somebody made me a video. If you want to see that video, go to www.gemelixirs.com. And that video is sitting on that website right now. The $37 video, I'll put it in the link, and you'll see what I got for $37. And sadly, I spent 8 hours wasting my time trying to do that. So please listen to Samir on this delegate, outsource. It also can link up into automation. I'm off the box. It's all yours again. But like, I can't speak to this because I am one of those over passionators. I'm also one of those people like, nobody can do it as good as me. Like, I get it. I'm type AA. I'm AA. I'm the type A of type A's. I get it. But I also know how good it feels when I finally let somebody else do some of these things, and then frees me up to go do what I love to do. it's magic, my friends. And your money will start to pour in because your energy isn't dropping because you're doing all these crappy low frequency things that you don't enjoy.
Awesome. That was really good. I love one thing you said at the beginning, and I think this is, I'm going to bring it back to something you said. So you said while this person is doing the, setting up your website, doing your emails, whatever it is, you get to focus on getting one more client or generating new business. And I like that as a entire life philosophy. Okay, and I'm gonna share this with you because it's a personal story that I think is really kind of sets the tone of how I want you to think about this, right? So when so I always so by the way, East always makes fun of me. She goes, because I fly first class, but I park my own car. Okay. So I won't valet, but for some reason I'll fly first class. So she's like, are you kidding me? So anyway, but the transition was this. So when I was shifting from going to economy to first class, I was having a really hard time with it because anyone that's looked at the pricing, it's not like $50 more. It is like at least 2 to 4 times, 6 times as expensive to fly first class instead of economy. And one day I was sitting there and I think the difference was like first class was 2,400 and economy was 600. And I was having a really tough time with this. And so I said to my wife, I go, what do you think I should do? Do you think it's worth that? And she paused and she looked at me and she said, well, the man that I married would say, you know what? I'm just going to go get another client and fly first class. Right. The reason I share that with you is because that's something E said, is the focus on getting that one new client, right? Instead of saying, well, that's expensive, I can't afford it. If you change that conversation to what do I need to do to accomplish what I'm looking to accomplish, it changes the story. It changes the approach that you're going to take in order to get there. You're not going to shut down and say it's too expensive, I can't do it. You're going to say, okay, well, what do I need to have that one more client? Well, I need to have an extra 2 hours of my day. Well, what am I spending 2 hours a day? Well, I'm sort of sitting here and I'm dictating and doing all this stuff on my iPad, which I can't be doing. Well, how much would that cost me? And as East has told you, it's pennies on the dollar, but maybe you don't know that yet. So you need to go out there and say, wow, I get a video for $37. I can have someone transcribe my notes for $5 an hour, whatever it is. And now I have an extra 2, 3, 4, 5 hours open so I can get clients, which are paying me hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to be there. So that was a really good tangent, East. So I think that if everyone shifts that focus to how do I get more clients and what do I need to do to get there and how much more time do I need, it'll make delegation a lot easier. Another thing with delegation is the first time you do it, it is so stressful. It's like she said, I'm type AA. Everyone becomes type AAA when they have to delegate for the first time because you think that I'm going to curse East. You think that someone who you're going to delegate is going to fuck up your entire business and it's going to go down the drain and everything's going to be screwed up. But if you hired someone that specializes in that one thing that you want to do, unless they're a total con artist, they're going to know what they're doing and they're going to do it better than you. And I remember this the first time, like I stopped taking my own notes. Like for those of you who don't know that I have a law practice, take notes from my own consultations. I just did a consultation. I just talked and I was in the zone and I could be the salesperson that I needed to be. And then I'm like, oh, I didn't take notes. My assistant's like, I did. So much better than anything I could have done. And I've never looked back, never taken notes in my entire life on that, at least during consultations, and it will change your life. Okay, so that's the delegation part. Let me quickly move to the S part. Okay, now this S part is for systemization. Now we touched upon this during the last podcast, but I want to expand upon this a little bit more. Systems will save your life in everything you do. Okay, so systems are about money making, time saving, stress elimination, overwhelm reduction, all of the above. Because what happens is when we ramp up our businesses, when we're ramping up our let me start that again. When we're ramping up our businesses, we're learning. We're constantly course correcting until we figure out what works and how it works. And once we have it in place, we tend to repeat it over and over again, whether it's a marketing strategy, whether it's what to say during an initial consultation, whether it is a system for taking our notes on a particular client or patient, whether it is how we want to submit insurance claims, whether it's what kind of payment plans we want to set up. All these are systems because we do them more than once. And so systemization is crucial to set up. And again, the first time you set up systems in your business, it's a pain because you are writing out every single detail of how the process has to work. And then after that, it's a checklist. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to go back and say, what did I say? Everything is part of the process. And this is important because at some point you will delegate and you will need that checklist and say, hey, assistant, this is what I need you to do. In this order, make sure all the boxes are checked off. So this is anything you do more than once. If you have a client welcome, a patient welcome, right? So a patient says, okay, I've signed up for a session with you, 10 sessions with you, whatever it may be. Well, there's an onboarding process. Well, you should have an email, a video, an audio, a web form, set all of that up because you know what? That's not going to be the last person that needs all this stuff. There's going to be many more. Have it set up, and then once it's all set up, delegate it to an assistant. Say, listen, this is the process. Make sure the person goes through it before they show up. And then you are sitting there serving your patients, serving your clients, because that is what you do best. And there's the important part, again, something we discussed previously. If you do your job well, if you make that personal connection, if you help people, they're going to come back to you. They're going to send their friends. They're going to send, their family members. They're going to work with you over and over and over again. And that's money in your pocket because you are not busy doing all the crap that we just talked about that you've systemized and you've handed off to someone else. And you do not need to do that anymore. Now, again, caveat is if you are building your business right at the very onset, you're going to have to do this. You're just figuring out what works. But once you figure it out and you do it more than once, twice, 3 times, systematize it, set up templates, set up scripts, set up checklists, so you don't have to think about it again. And do this for everything in your business, both the money-making side and the time-saving side. Marketing definitely should be automated, should have systems in place. What you should say, we hear these people talk about objections during sales calls. They're scripts because they've done this hundreds of times. Your clients will say something to you. They'll say, you're too expensive. Okay. You don't have to follow anyone else's script. What did you say to someone when they said you're too expensive that worked really, really well? Write it down because someone else in the future is going to say you're too expensive and you'll be like, yeah, okay, I know what to say. Here you go. All right, so that's E.A.D.S. Eliminate all the stuff that doesn't make you money or free up your time or improve the lives of your clients. Automation, use technology to do the stuff that you do over and over again and will not have a negative impact of whether you do it personally or you use technology to do it. Delegation, have other people who are better, faster, more efficient than you do the stuff that you hate doing or don't do well. And systemization, systemize everything in your business that you do more than once so that it frees up a ton of your time over the next month, year, decade.
I love it because
I'm
will
done.
compound, right? You do this now and then it compounds exponentially going forward in your business. I love the analogy of a wedding. And you cannot be the bride, the officiant, the photographer, and the caterer of your own wedding, right? But we all try it. We all try to do it. And so this may be the shift, the little kick in the proverbial butt that you need to finally, even if you just took one step in the E.A.D.S. process, just one thing will set you on a new trajectory for sure. Absolutely. Now you had told me that you're willing to give people one of your free trainings. Can you tell me about that? Because I was going to link it if you're still okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Here?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
okay.
Yeah, let's give them a free training. So
okay.
East, I will leave it to you to leave a link below. But we could just say it right now. I'm ready. We don't have any. We didn't delegate someone to type across our screen what it needs to say. Now we might have to do this ourselves.
We weren't planning on this. This is like, surprise, will you give somebody free training?
Let's just go to eastsentme.com. Okay, so I share stuff and East. I always want to. This is a really good opportunity to take one step. I'm going to share something else. I'm going to share a bonus here. Like, okay, so why am I saying go to East Sent Me rather than go to my website? Okay, there's a reason for this. So this is East's world, right? And so you will have people in your world who are like, listen, I want to introduce you to someone who can come into your world. They may or may not become a client. They may work with you. We won't worry about that right now. The key is you have to know who's sending them because humans are just like any other animal, Pavlovian conditioning. I'm sorry, East, I'm going to say this is going to sound horrible, but I love you. And I think, yeah, you know what I mean by this. So if East sends me someone, right, I'm going to send her a thank you. It could be a card, it could be brownies, it could be taking her out to dinner, and it could be buying her a cup of coffee. It doesn't really matter what it is, but I'm acknowledging that you've done something for me. And it is absolutely irrelevant whether someone works with me or not, because she took an effort and her effort is done, and that person's responsibility to work with me or not work with me is on them. But if I don't thank you, here's what happened. He's going to be like, well, you know what? I sent someone over to Samir and he never said anything. I wonder if they worked with him or not. And worst thing is if she later finds out that someone worked with me that came up from her world and I didn't thank her, because she might send me one more. But if I don't thank her on that second time, guess what? That's it. And the key to know here is that someone that refers once is going to refer over and over and over again. So I'm going to share this with you. You guys can totally use it. So I have a process where I actually send a handwritten card and brownies to every person that refers. Okay. And in the PS of that card, it actually says, listen, I just want to warn you, every time you refer someone, you are going to get brownies. So I would probably invest in a treadmill as well. Okay. And and they get brownies and people are sitting there, they're like, dude, I don't know what to do with all these brownies. I'm like, please share them with someone else. Stop eating them all yourself. But you have to thank them. So that's kind of a total tangent from what we were talking about earlier. But if you go to East Sent Me, it tells me that you are from East World and that you are coming in and you're grabbing the training, and I get to thank her. Okay. So the training itself is a deep dive into what we are discussing on these podcasts. We will go into some sales psychology. We'll go into some really cool stuff in these trainings. And just go to esentme.com and you'll be able to get access to the training.
I honestly did not know that you created esentme.com. That is so awesome.
You did not know that?
No, I'm looking at this. I was like, if you type in esentme.com, like this
is that what you were just doing? Is that what you were just
so
typing?
You guys know, Samir maybe he does not work a lot. So this must have been an easy thing. You use a lot of the technology that's out there, but that is impressive, my friend. Very, very impressive. Was it on the last podcast? Because I used one of your nuggets, your gems, your gold bullion, if you will. I used it with my coaching clients this week. Was it on the last podcast where you offered a response to somebody saying, oh, that's too expensive? And then you look at them and say, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize that getting over your stroke, I thought, I'm sorry, I was under the impression that getting over your stroke and being able to brush your own hair was really valuable to you. Yeah. Was that you?
That wasn't me. I know what you're talking about. That was I think a video that you and I watched, and we texted each other a video. But it all depends. Like it depends on when someone says you're too expensive, right? And okay, so let me take two angles on this, right? So someone says you're too expensive. Someone asked me just the other day, they're like, what do you think about discounts? Right. And it was in the acupuncture world. And she asked me, so someone said, never, ever, ever discount. It's horrible. Never do it. One of our business coaches said that. I'm like, well, what if we just change the word? She goes, what do you mean? I go, let's just not call it a discount. Let's call it a negotiation, right? A discount is me giving you something without you giving anything, right? A negotiation is, okay, I can work with you and you work with me. So, God, I forgot what I called it. But anyway, we had something in my law practice where it was a concession agreement. It was a concession agreement. Okay. And here's how it would work is someone came in and let's just say the price was $10,000. And they would be like, oh my goodness. And by the way, if people don't gasp, it's if they don't get shocked by your prices are too low, just so you know. And I would say, what is that too expensive? They're like, that's crazy. That's like 4 times as much as anyone else charges. I'm like, oh, okay. And I leave it at that. I don't defend it. And I said, okay, so what do you want to do now? Like, well, I don't know if I can afford it. So then I'll step back and I'll say, well, let's put the money aside for just a second. I go, do you want help with X, whatever their problem is? And they say, yeah, I want help. Do you need help? Yeah, I need help. Okay, do you want my help? Because if they don't want to work with you, then there's no point in belaboring the point. He's like, yeah, I totally want your help. So you don't want to work with one of those other crappy, cheap ass attorneys. No, I don't. Okay, good. Just want to confirm. Okay, so what do we need to do here? Well, I'm like, do you need a payment plan? By the way, I love payment plans because it's still the full amount of money. It just takes a little bit longer. I just don't think I can afford that. I'm like, okay, so how much can you afford? Now, I love this line. no matter what they say, my response is, well, good, that we're not that far apart. Unless they're like $500. I'm like, dude, we're so far apart. But if they come out anything 5,000 or above, I'm like, great, we're not that far apart. Okay. So let's figure out a way to work together because I want to work with you. You want to work with me. And let's just say we agree. They're like, well, I can do 7,000. Like, okay. Like, I'm like honest with you. I'm like, I was trying to work out something. I'm thinking there's something that we could do here. I was kind of closer to 8. So maybe we can do around 7,500. Would that work for you? And they will always come up from whatever their number is. Maybe they'll even come up to 8. Okay. So they say, great, we could do 7,500. Okay. Here's what I'm going to do for you. I'm going to give you this concession. I'm going to give you this 2,500, but I need you to agree to do 2 or 3 things for me. And they go, okay, one, once we're done, I need you to leave a testimonial for me. Okay. And I'm not going to tell you whether it has to be a 1-star or a 5-star. It just has to be a testimonial. Okay. Because I'm going to do the best job I can. Number 2 is I need you to refer me 2 or 3 friends, right? I need you to refer me 3 friends who also need whatever X service. Okay. And listen, I want to preface this with, if I do a crappy job, I do not want you referring anyone to me. Okay. Has to be because you love me and you enjoyed working with me and I took really good care of you. In that case, will you agree to refer 3 people? Great. And number 3, you will not tell anyone else about our agreement. This will be between you and me. Okay. Because it's a confidential thing. I don't want them going around and be like, hey, listen, he'll say 10, but you could do it for 7,500. I don't want that. And I'll make them sign this. Okay.
I love that.
And so this is a negotiation now, because here's what's going to happen. They're going to send me more clients. And let me tell you the best outcome that came out of this. So I had clients, there was a couple, okay, and I had this agreement. The entire agreement was for them to introduce me to 3 people. I think they misunderstood. Each of them introduced me to about 10 people each. I would have conceded my entire fee on that. Do you know how much money that turns out to be? It's incredible. And they got a lot of brownies. And they continue to send people because I took good care of them. So, so when people ask for a discount, that's what you say. When people say you're expensive, and they come back and they say, okay, well, is that a bad thing? Like, ask them, is that a bad thing that I'm expensive?
Mm-hmm.
Because it may not be. Because okay, so one of the examples that I use, I say, okay, listen, I'm going to pull into your driveway and I've got 2 cars. Okay, they look exactly the same. You can't, and they're identical. This one is $10,000 and this one is $100,000. Which one do you want? And they go, I want the $100,000 one. I'm like, why? I just told you they're the exact same car. And they're like, yeah, but I want the $100,000. I'm like, they're identical. I'm like, you don't have to pay for it. You can pick one. They're like, I want the $100,000 one. Why? Because it's more expensive. It seems to be worth more. Okay. So do you want the Honda or do you want the Mercedes? And if someone asks you, you're expensive, you're like, yeah, I'm the Mercedes. I'm not the Honda. All right. And if you want to work with me, you're going to get exceptional service. I'm going to take care of you. And by the way, when you have these high prices and you are actually expensive, you can give like crazy guarantees. You can be like, listen, if I don't get rid of your shoulder pain, guess what? You know what? I'm going to give you your money back. And they're like, how long? I'm like, give me 90 days to get rid of it. And if someone's like doing a little bit better, they'll be like, no one wants to get their money back. Very few people will actually ask for their money back. They just want their problem to be resolved. And if you resolved it like 50, 60, 70%, they're like, no, I don't want to quit. I want to just see what we need to do to get 100%. And that's how people operate. I mean, some people are dishonest, but the majority aren't.
Majority are great. I love that. So this is the bonus, my friends. You're getting an extra bonus on pricing objections. I have never heard of this concession agreement, but I love it. And it's not a discount, and it's an agreement. Okay, I can negotiate. We can negotiate here, right? But first, determine if they really want to work with you, because if they don't want to work with you, it doesn't matter how much you lower your price. You're just going to feel worse and more pissed off at them. Like, it's like, do you really want to work with me? I do. Okay, great. We can create a concession agreement. We can come to some terms here. That's number 1. Is that a bad thing? Oh, you're so expensive. Is that a bad thing? I remember you once told me you used to tell your clients, yeah, because I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? I'm good at what I do. I'm going to save you time, money, and headaches. And number 3, and this just happened to me yesterday. I bought something very expensive yesterday, and I was already stretching myself. And just before I signed on the line, she's like, oh, and just by the way, you need to know that tax will be added to that. I'm like, gulp, like, wait, you're going to put tax onto this? I thought this was tax and everything. And she said to me, no. And I said, well, is there any way we can roll tax into that? And she said, no. because I don't want to give you less of me. If I have to take tax out of the amount, I'm not going to feel good about doing this for you. And you're going to feel it. And so Samir told me this one day. He said that because I used to get objections to my pricing, I still do. And I've borrowed this from Samir, and it is this line. And this goes back to having a system, right? So if you have a system to objections, which you know you're going to get because your pricing is such, one is to have this wording in your hip pocket. And it is, I appreciate you asking for a discount. I just know, whether it's conscious or subconscious, I don't want to give you less of me. I want to give you all of me. I'm in full integrity with everybody. So I'm not offering any discounts at this time. That means I like at this time, because maybe 2 weeks from now you want to offer discounts. You don't want to put this like end all be all, I never offer discounts, and then a week later you do. So at this time, I'm not offering discounts, but I love the caveat of like, even if it's subconscious, I don't want to give you less of me. I want to give you all of me. And we all know that when somebody nickels and dimes you, it is really hard to authentically give them all of you, because there's a part of your mind that you're like, and honestly, a lot of times the people that are like trying to nickel and dime me are the biggest pains in my ass anyway. And I'm just regretful the whole time that I gave them a discount. It's like, like you're harder to work with than the person that's paying me full
That's
time.
like a golden rule. That's a golden rule. It always happens. The person that pays you $10,000 is much less of a pain in the ass that pays you than the person that pays you $100.
Right. And then the last story I'll tack on to this. I had somebody that was asking me for discounts constantly, and I gave her a couple of little discounts, and then she was asking me for another discount. And I said no, thanks to Samir, because Samir is definitely part of my journey of fortifying my boundaries, understanding my worth. Anyway, I saw the same girl ask me for discounts on social media in another workshop with a colleague of mine. So I called my colleague, because we're friends, and I said, did this person pay full price? She goes, of course, I don't offer discounts. And I was like, oh my gosh, you'll pay her full price, but you won't pay me. I was beyond myself pissed off, right? So don't put yourself in that position. It's your fault if you offer the discount and then get pissed about it. So I love it. It's not a discount. It can be a negotiation.
Yep.
I love this. So good. Another bonus from Samir. I love it. So good.
That was fun. Yep. That was fun. We can go, you and I can keep going on this stuff for days on days, but I'm glad we were able to throw in some extra bonuses here.
We got bonuses, and I think you said you'd do one more podcast with me.
Oh my God, you're just juicy.
Come on, I'll buy you coffee.
We can do a negotiation, okay?
We're gonna negotiate, but stay tuned. I think I could probably get him to do one more podcast with me.
I have an idea.
All of the references and links that we've discussed will be in the description and notes to this podcast interview YouTube video.
Awesome. Thank you so much. This was
Thank
fun.
you,
I love doing this.
It was great. Okay. Until we see you again. Bye for now.